the headlines of VTV News, Party General Secretary's battle against corruption. Prime Minister activates Gene Bank in gratitude towards those with meritorious contributions. And later on in our world news, Asean senior officials meeting kicks off in Laos.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Since taking up the party's lead position in the 11th term, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng and the party's Central Committee always focused on leading the strengthening and rectifying of the party. The goal has always been building an upright and strong political system while preventing corruption. More on this in the following.
In February 2013, the Central Steering Committee on Prevention and Control of Corruption under the Politburo was launched, with the Party General Secretary as head of the steering committee. The General Secretary always emphasized the valuable lesson of strengthening the mettle and confidence of the entire political system.
The fight against corruption has always been difficult, so it must be done with due process, following a careful plan, otherwise it will fail. The recent success was achieved thanks to the leading team, especially the Party General Secretary guidance.
His guiding ideology is no forbidden areas and no exceptions. All violators must be brought to light. That spirit is the key to anti-corruption successes.
No exceptions, never stop, never rest, no matter how difficult the job. The instruction of the party leader have been realized in action and produced many results. Vietnam climbed 46 places in the 2022 Corruption Perception Index, assessed by Transparency International, compared to more than a decade ago.
His anti-corruption campaign has achieved remarkable results. This clearly shown through the rapid and stable development of Vietnam, GDP growth, and people's income.
Throughout the years, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng always nurtured the determination of officials to act against corruption.
I have said many times, without stopping, we must purify the party apparatus, the state, and the entire political system. This is certain. We must fill all gaps and prevent all underhanded actions that go against morality. I will continue to speak of this despite all disagreements for the common good. All officials must be exemplary.
The Party General Secretary has been determined to direct the Prevention and Control Department to meaningfully implement those great ideas when everyone, even those in high positions, are punished for violating the law. The authorities regain the citizen trust. That is why the great contribution of the Party General Secretary must always be remembered and appreciated by all.
The 13th Party Congress singles out corruption as one of the direct threats to the survival of the party and the regime. According to General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, the greatest purpose of the struggle is to build and rectify the party, not to discipline as many as possible. Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng has left a legacy of trust among party members and people towards the party and the regime.
The great contributions of Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng to the revolutionary cause of the party and the Vietnamese people have left a deep impression not only on party members, people nationwide, and the overseas Vietnamese community, but also on international friends, foreign experts, and investors who have been associated with Vietnam for many years have expressed their admiration for the leadership role and special contributions of the Party General Secretary towards towards the causes of party building, national development, anti-corruption efforts, and enhancing Vietnam's position in the international arena.
I think his leadership and his theories were extremely important for Vietnam's developmental success. His leadership in the anti-corruption and anti-negativity campaign, his leadership helped maintain that good relationship between the people and the party. The General Secretary was incorruptible. You know, he lived the life that he preached and was a really good example for everyone. On the global scale, the development of bamboo diplomacy is very unique in the world. It's a very positive and practical way to approach foreign policy, and it creates an atmosphere of stability and peace and trust among nations.
Over the years, I have seen him appear in many different kinds of international context. He was always very visible, not only to the Vietnamese people, but certainly also to foreigners that follow Vietnam. And I think he will be remembered as one of the greatest Secretary Generals of our time.
In just 1 year, from June 2023 until now, foreign leaders, including the President of South Korea, the President of the United States, the President of China, the President of Russia and many other leaders in the world have visited and worked with the Vietnamese government. This means that Vietnam has become one of the most important countries in terms of diplomacy and the economy. The country is gaining a more prominent position in the international arena. The Party General Secretary's efforts will continue to bring more fruitful results in the future. We believe that Vietnam will be one of the most important countries in terms of industrial production as well as diplomacy.
He's taken over the position as Party Secretary General over the last 14 years or so. The economy has done very well. Everything has picked up in terms of maintained strong GDP growth rates. At the same time, the economy is increasingly engaged in the international economy. It's diversified its international markets. Effort he put into containing corruption in Vietnam. I think the potential, well, the actual and potential impact on the economy, its impact will be felt for many, for decades to come. It gives confidence in the government. And I think it's something that'll be remembered for a long time.
His legacy is one of really spearheading the forward trajectory of Vietnam and making sure that the country is ready for the future. His dedication, his will, his iron will in many ways to create the right future and the right foundations for Vietnam as it moves on cannot be diminished. He has definitely been one of the major figures in the history of Vietnam.
Moving on to other news, State President Tô Lâm on Tuesday met the Liaison Board of Veterans of the Parachute Commando Division 305 for the celebration of the 70th Traditional Day of the Division and the 80th founding anniversary of the Vietnam People's Army and the 35th All People's Defense Day. The State President emphasized that the country has taken strong development strides and risen to new heights as it stands today. The state leader expressed his hope that veterans of the division continue to be exemplary to their families and relatives and actively participate in building a stable and strong local political base and a rich and beautiful homeland. He asked the Liaison Board to organize activities to support the families of martyrs and war invalids or veterans living in difficult circumstances. The state president also requested the authorities take better care of Division 305's veterans and encourage them to actively participate in production and business activities. On the 77th War Invalids and Martyrs Day, Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Phie attended the 2024 conference to honor people for meritorious service to the revolution. He also launched the Gene Bank for unidentified martyrs and their relatives. Former chairwoman of the National Assembly, Nguyễn Kim Ngân, also attended the event.
On behalf of the party and state leaders, Prime Minister Phie respectfully sent his deepest sentiments and gratitude to the revolutionary veterans, Vietnamese heroic mothers, heroes of the People's Armed Forces, wounded and sick soldiers, relatives of martyrs, and people who perform meritoriously for the revolution. Over the past 77 years, despite the party, the state, and people's efforts to repay gratitude to those who have contributed to the revolution, their lives remain difficult. Many martyrs have not been identified. Agent Orange victims still suffer many disadvantages. Therefore, the Prime Minister requested that all levels, sectors, and localities better implement policies for people who did meritorious deeds. He also spoke highly of the launch of the Gene Bank for unidentified martyrs and their relatives. The Gene Bank has a goal of identifying about 20,000 martyrs' remains by 2030 and verifying 60% of graves in martyrs' cemeteries that lack information.
This is the wish of our party, state, and the wish of martyrs' relatives. Many martyrs at Martyrs Cemetery remain unidentified. Using modern technologies, we must put more effort into this mission, and it must be done with responsibility, gratitude towards those who have sacrificed for the nation and the people. The government has always been anxious to carry out this mission in the best possible conditions and to ease the readiness of martyrs' families.
Following President Ho Chi Minh's teaching, Prime Minister Phie affirmed that with great responsibility and deep affection, Vietnam's party, state, and people are willing to continue taking good care of those who have contributed to the revolution, soothe their pain, and ease their nostalgia.
The Standing Committee of the National Assembly on Tuesday morning discussed the arrangement of district-level and commune-level administrative units in Nam Dinh, Sóc Trăng, and Tuyên Quang provinces for the 2023 to 2025 period. They observed a minute of silence at the beginning of the meeting to commemorate General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. According to the draft resolution on the arrangement of commune-level administrative units, Nam Dinh province will reduce one district-level unit down to 51 communes. Sóc Trăng will merge 2 wards into new one. Tuyên Quang will cut 1 commune. All 3 resolutions will take effect from September the 1st this year. Also on Tuesday morning, the National Assembly Standing Committee considered the government's proposal to add the draft law on data and the draft law on amending and supplementing a number of articles of the law on Vietnam People's Army officers to the 2024 Law and Ordinance Development Program. One of the biggest challenges in implementing digital transformation in rural areas is the lack of trained human resources. Many communes do not have dedicated IT staff, and most officials work part-time and lack formal IT training. Despite these challenges, the Community Digital Technology Group model has emerged as an effective solution. By leveraging the strength of local residents, these groups help mitigate the resource shortage.
In this village, a digital technology group is making changes to the community. This 7-member group includes core youth union members who actively assist households with digital tasks.
Senior citizens may not be as sharp as the young, but with their influence, they can be excellent supporters of the initiative. Our team consists of senior citizens and young tech enthusiasts.
Digital transformation is a complex field that requires comprehensive IT knowledge and skills. While some communes lack IT officers, Tháp Thuong's Community Digital Technology Group benefits from the expertise of a local IT professional.
This is for the public good, so as soon as I was offered a role in the team, I took it up. I provide guidance on how to use equipment such as surveillance cameras and solar lights effectively and economically.
The locals of Sam Phuong commune understand the value of digital transformation. They not only embrace it, but also contribute financially to the local digital transformation process.
After being informed by the technology team and recognizing the convenience of digital life, we installed surveillance cameras and solar lights.
In Thap Thượng village alone, locals have installed over 100 cameras connected to the commune's surveillance system, enhancing security. They have also donated tens of thousands of dollars to install solar lighting systems and public Wi-Fi. As a result, all 4 villages in Sam Phuong commune now meet the criteria for becoming smart villages. Creating consensus and solidarity is key to mobilizing community resources for digital transformation. This approach ensures that digital technology groups can effectively support their communities.
Coming up next, storm number 2 causes damage in northern provinces. And searching and gathering martyrs remains in Khánh Hòa province. Storm number 2 caused heavy rain and strong winds in some areas on Tuesday morning. Many localities have recorded damage due to storms and rain. In Quảng Ninh, strong winds of level 7 to 8, gusts of level 9, and heavy rain caused 50 urban trees to fall and some coastal shacks to have their roofs blown off. In the Koto Island district, a cement-hulled ship and a speedboat sank while anchored in the harbor. Hải Phòng City also partially was flooded in Cát Hải district due to heavy rain, leaving many tourists stranded on Cát Bà Island. Continuous heavy rain caused flooding on many roads in Bắc Giang City. In Vân Hồ district, Sơn La province, water levels in many streams rose, causing some inter-commune and inter-village roads to flood while being struck with landslides. Heavy congestion was seen in many streets in Hanoi Center. The rain is forecast to last until the end of Wednesday. With heavy rains from the past week, thousands of hectares of newly planted rice in the north were deeply flooded for a long time. More than 70% of the flooded area had to be completely replanted, which is a huge problem for localities. This report from Nam Định province, where half of the area was flooded.
This year, the amount of rain was so heavy that Quang's 4 acres of rice fields were submerged by nearly half a meter for 5 days. Therefore, it was impossible to save the rice.
The roots are all black. We lost everything.
Hundreds of pumping stations are operating at full capacity. Due to the difficulty of draining the water, Nghĩa Hưng district has had to use pipeless pumps, a new initiative to save the rice.
Thanks to this, 80% of the rice growing area has been saved.
Many communes have deployed support for people with rice seeds. The seedlings are planted in household yards and roads. The agricultural sector requires these seedlings must be planted and cultivated in the next 10 days to ensure productivity.
If people cannot complete the planting, the rate of empty seed planters will be high.
We have issued an urgent telegram instructing people to use short-term rice varieties to replace flooded areas. For heavily flooded areas, localities can request the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to supply from the National Reserve.
Of the nearly 1 million hectares of rice in the north, only 30,000 hectares remained unplanted. The fact that thousands of hectares need to be replanted requires the provinces to identify areas at risk of flooding and develop response plans when the rain continues over the next 2 days.
After nearly half a century, the search, recovery, and collection of martyrs' remains who died in the resistance war has become increasingly difficult. However, as long as there are martyrs whose remains have not been found, the search will continue. It is a journey of responsibility and affection because there remains an need, an urge from families of the martyrs to complete the search.
A special day in Khánh Vĩnh District, Khánh Hòa Province. Local authorities held a memorial service and buried martyrs' remains found in a place that used to be an infirmary during the resistance war in Ngã Hai Town, Khánh Phú Commune. After nearly 1 year of searching and verifying information about 7 martyrs who died here, 3 remains were finally found.
The martyrs died a long time ago, so the current situation has changed a lot. However, we continue to search.
Family of martyr Phạm Văn Quyền from Thái Bình Province have been in Khánh Vĩnh District for many days. With what little remains, it is now difficult to identify the martyrs. However, they still hope to find their relatives.
I felt relief when I saw the martyrs' remains brought to the district martyrs cemetery.
During the resistance war, Khánh Hòa Province was the site of fierce fighting, with many losses and sacrifices. Even now, there are still more than 1,300 martyrs whose remains have not been found. Thousands of relatives still hope to find them and bring them back to their hometowns. Therefore, the search for the resting places of lost martyrs is being urgently carried out by Khánh Hòa Province. Over the past 10 years, the province has conducted 83 surveys, searches, and collections of many martyrs' remains, with nearly 2,400 participants.
Although information sources about martyrs' graves have become increasingly scarce, we are determined to find them and bring them back to their families.
Even though the search and gathering of martyrs remains a difficult job, it will not stop because it is carried out in the spirit of gratitude to the sacrifices they made.
In Vietnam's Central Highlands, the communal house known as the Rong House holds profound significance for ethnic groups. Therefore, preserving the Rong's communal space remains a collective priority for local communities. In the northern Central Highlands region, where a sizable population of the Bana ethnic group resides, these Rong houses continue to be diligently maintained by the community.
For the Bana people, the Rong House signifies community pride and showcases their unique cultural identity. The imagery of Rong houses is inseparable from the vast mountains, resonating with the sounds of gongs and the swirling dance around the fire, accompanied by communal rituals and the sharing of cane wine.
Every ethnic village has a communal Rong house. It is built from collective resources. It hosts community events and anniversaries, so it's very important.
A Rong house is inseparable from ethnic life. Without its presence, the local community of an ethnic group will lose its heritage.
One notable Rong house is found in Con Sơn La village, Ha Tây Commune, Chư Pa district, Gia Lai province, and is renowned as the largest Rong house in the Central Highlands. Built entirely from natural materials by the skilled hands of the local ethnic community, this structure was completed in 2017 and stands as a source of immense pride for its inhabitants.
The upkeep of these Rong houses is challenging, particularly in terms of maintaining the deteriorating roofs. It requires original forest wood that is now restricted. Local residents hope for support from authorities to address this issue.
In an effort to preserve their traditional cultural heritage, the Bana community has collaborated with local authorities to rebuild and refurbish their Rong houses over time. While the use of materials has evolved, they strive to retain the distinctive characteristics that uphold the spiritual and cultural values of the Central Highlands Rong houses.
Coming up next in our world news, ASEAN senior officials meeting kicks off in Laos. And Ukraine avoids the risk of default. The ASEAN Senior Officials Meeting, or SOM, was held in Vientiane, Laos on Tuesday to review and complete all preparations for the 57th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting, or AMM 57, and its related meetings. At the event, SOM leaders extended their deep condolences to the Vietnamese government and people over the passing of Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng on July the 19th. Participants affirmed support and close coordination with the host country to contribute to the success of the meetings in the spirit of solidarity and cooperation. The AMM 57 and related meetings will take place in Vientiane from July the 24th to the 27th, with about 20 activities. ASEAN foreign ministers and partners will discuss the implementation of ASEAN's key priorities in 2024, the process of building the ASEAN community, and the international and regional state of affairs. Ukraine announced on Tuesday that it had reached a preliminary agreement with international creditors to restructure more than $20 billion of government debt. Accordingly, the creditors, including BlackRock, PIMCO, and other major investment institutions, wrote up billions of dollars in nominal debt value and agreed to a new payment schedule with more favorable terms for Kyiv. With the 37% reduction in nominal debt value, Ukraine said it would save $11.4 billion in debt payments over the next 3 years. If all goes well, the Ukrainian government will issue new bonds paying an interest rate of 1.75% from next year. The conflict that has lasted more than 2 years has had a significant impact on the Ukrainian economy. The government has had to rely on international aid to cover both military and public spending. Fuel savings, more luggage space, and better views from aircraft windows are what Airbus and Boeing are promising at the International Air Show in the UK. The two aviation giants showcased their latest developments on the first day of the show.
On the first day of the Farnborough International Air Show, Airbus unveiled its latest passenger aircraft, A321XLR. With 30% more fuel efficiency, the new aircraft is a highlight in commercial aerospace, which continues to be dominated by the single-aisle market.
So by improving the physics of the wing, we can burn less fuel, and then the second key part of our technology development in Airbus is then about developing how to burn different fuels.
Boeing, Airbus' rival, did not introduce any new aircraft models, but emphasized updates to its 777 family.
We also have increased bag capacity, doubled that of the 777, and reduced closing forces by over 40% on those.
Every 2 years, the aerospace, aviation, and defense industries are invited to Farnborough International Exhibition and Conference Center.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store, Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.